Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our Global TV Deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it break a bad feeling to all wicked men. That's a people there. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rub and cheat, and not first and for make up what I seen to. Make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. So, my favorite man, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day them can sell out Rasta and sell it out and sell out Babylon. Big man show one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Big man show one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead and can sell out Rasta and sell out, I sell out Babylon. Just stop on the right. You might throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black thing. You might throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one. Big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what's a black big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rasta man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
Good evening. So Andrew Holness has sworn in and officially becomes the Prime Minister, even though, in my view, unconstitutionally. I prayed two prior this evening. None of them, though, materialized. I first prayed for Patrick Allen to fell down the stairs. That did not happen. I also prayed for Harold Blair to choke on the prayer that he prayed. That also didn't happen. The Prime Minister came with a lot of kumbayas, literally nothing that you have not heard before. He was just singing and chirping like any bird. At one point, the Prime Minister sounds like a unifier. But on the other hand, the Prime Minister came with a rafter of throwing shades or dropping words, music. Can you believe he actually spoke on the word integrity? Yes, Andrew Holness did. It was just the usual kumbaya. It's nothing that would jump out at you and make you really surprised and say, uh-huh. No, not that. Just the same old from Andrew Holness. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is the People's Point of View on your station, Global TV. Welcome, one and all. Thank you all for joining us this evening. What happened to the witnesses? 15% of the witnesses in the case against the crook, Roel Reid, and his entire family, Fitzpinnock and Kim Lawrence Brown. 15% of them cannot be located. I wonder if there's any evidence tampering involved in all of this hide and seek with the prosecutor. Honor the globalists, Lord the Kumbaya, the Anansi stories of the Prime Minister, it really wouldn't shock you. Trust me. We've all heard an Anansi story before. So it's like the usual, isn't it? Debbie Jervis, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Good evening, good evening. Sharon Bernard, good evening. Colleen, Norman Ferguson, good evening, good evening. Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson, good evening. Ladybug, Janet Harriet, Desroy Stanley, Sheena Kelly, Sophia Hall, Lusam Pamela Akola, Marlon Brown, good evening. Colin, good evening. Suzette Williams, Paulette Lewis, good evening, good evening. Laverne, good evening. Who else is here? Colleen James, Carlene Richards, Judy Roberts, good evening. Canadian Gal, good evening. Althea, Lynette Jenkins, good evening. Everyone, TikTok, good evening. Who is over here? Althea, Dolores, Man, Benji, O'Neill, Oral, Karen, John, Alfred, Claude, Kingsley, Free Fire, Marla Lee Smith, Success Always. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, George Beckford. Good evening. Lorraine Smichaels. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. A new old Prime Minister, Zenet Beckford. A new old Prime Minister, Estina Tyne. Good evening. Odane Odane. I don't want to mess up your last name. Good evening. Andrew Holness. Make we go to a picture them pan with slide. I want to Juliet lose a whole heap of weight. Monica Hawthorne, good evening. I literally prayed for Patrick Allen to fell down the stairs. But honestly, the Governor General get chopped up though. Governor General out a hook up on him stick. Bernard Stewart, good evening. The Governor General came out hookering on him stick. Isn't it time for Patrick Allen to move on now and move either to the care home, an armchair, some bed rest or something, Leroy Henry? Some armchair, some care home or something. But isn't it time for us to stop paying Patrick Allen for doing nothing? We need fresh people now, Patrick Allen. Me pray for the man fall down the stairs, you see, but I don't know, bad prayer really don't get answered. But Juliet Holness looked to me like, I don't know if the election stressed her out or what, but she lose a whole heap of weight. Whole heap of weight she lose. Don't know why. Don't know if the election she did a fret over. Don't know if a bad life. But she lose whole heap of weight. And then I prayed for the prayer that Harold Blair prayed to choke him. I wanted to see Harold Blair choking on his prayer. That also did not. Honestly, bad prayer don't work. Bad prayer don't work, because if bad prayer did work this evening, Harold Blair would have choked on the lying, wicked prayer. And one of the woman though, me say, go pray down Jesus off of the cross. Me forget what she name. She literally tried to pray down Jesus off of the cross this evening. For absolutely no reason at all. Not one good reason. But she just pray and pray and pray. I don't know, so phone wicked prayer go to one ear and come to the other. Is it me, my eyes, or there is something off looking with Adam Holness? Bring up a more close up. Is it really my Mind People Business eyes? Or is there something off looking or fishly looking with Adam Holness? Him just look weird, or I don't know. I don't know, but him look very weird. But back to some of what published from the Prime Minister inaugural speech. The Prime Minister spoke the usual bullshit that you heard when he's in front of a mic or while he was on the election campaign, or some sort of just put a mic before him and he'll speak. Violet Watson, how are you? But the Prime Minister actually spoke as if he did anything to strengthen the integrity commission. The Prime Minister spoke on integrity, governance, and anti-corruption. Strong emphasis on accountability. No special favors. Strengthening legislation and prosecutorial resources of the anti-corruption bodies. You know, he actually spoke on the matter of integrity. He did. And not just something we make up. He actually did. I was kind of surprised. I thought he was going to dance around the issue. But he actually shamefully the protection officer will turn up behind him. When the Prime Minister said, if we don't have the chance to watch it for yourself. When the Prime Minister talk about lead with integrity, the woman literally stare at him. The woman with the protection officer standing behind him literally stare at him when he used the word lead with integrity. I don't know if are the one where we are talking about is the same one the Prime Minister is talking about. Transparency and oversight. He actually spoke on that too. Transparency and oversight. The Prime Minister actually spoke on that. He's committed to legislation and regulation to improve transparency, public administration, and anti-corruption bill, amending the procurement rules, etc., etc., etc. The Prime Minister also, in a bid to fool the people, also extend, possibly I would call it an olive branch to Mark Golding. Let us move Jamaica on the road to republic, forgetting that he, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, was the problem why phase one of the review broke down, because he refused to compromise because of his parliamentary majority. Now, is the Prime Minister, or will the Prime Minister be really handing out a meaningful olive branch in interest of having a meaningful constitutional review, or is it that he has no other choice? If it is to be pushed through under his government, he will have to have meaningful dialogue with the People's National Party, as well as compromises. Is Andrew Holness prepared to drink the soup a bit warmer these days, now that his power in the legislature is diminished? But he actually spoke like he's handing out an olive branch to Mark Golding. Let us cooperate. My problem, though, with the Prime Minister, at one point in his speech, trying like he wants to unite the country after a tussle election campaign. But then the Prime Minister also come with the same hurt feelings, if you want to call it that. The Prime Minister come with a raft of dropping a word, throwing shades songs. So it's sort of a dichotomy there where you're rubbing salt in the wound, but you're blowing at it at the same time. The shocker for me, and he sound like he believed it, even though we know said nothing don't go so, and him know said nothing don't go so. The Prime Minister said he's going to end absolute poverty. He said it, These are not make-up thing, I'm just analyzing some of the things I remember from what just happened just now. The Prime Minister talked about eliminating absolute poverty. He said every household up and down the country will feel the whatever it is. Confusing, isn't it? Given that the people were promised prosperity in 2015, 2016, repromised in 2020. In this gone election campaign, we've been told we're on the road to prosperity. How far down the road? And just still not tell we yet. This is 5 years. And you're going to make Jamaicans, every household across the country, poverty is being eliminated, when currently you're presiding over a country with 55% food insecurity. These double-talking Prime Minister as if we're not listening and we don't understand and know what is going on. Eliminating absolute poverty, the Prime Minister says. Did you hear? The Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, said he might go eliminate poverty out of Jamaica. Right. Isn't it that the Prime Minister have it backwards? Because, to say, when he promised us prosperity in 2015, he should have promised to alleviate poverty. And then after alleviating poverty, we could move on to prosperity. But then the Prime Minister promised us prosperity in 2015 that we did not receive. And now, with a shorter term, the Prime Minister is promising us alleviation of poverty. You see how this man just using mouth against and over the people of Jamaica? Because nothing that Andrew Holness stand on the podium and said this evening was meaningful. It's not anything that Andrew Holness will seek to implement. Andrew Holness is going to drag him feet on a lot of things now because Andrew Holness won't be able to get his way, the chance to do it his way as it was in the last 5 years. The Prime Minister spoke about promoting peace and security within the region. The Prime Minister spoke about Jamaica's global respect and a global voice for human rights and justice. And he spoke about all that. But stop short, though, Prime Minister, of dealing with an escalating matter in our region. One of the things I observed, Prime Minister, it looked like it's only two head of state for carry come at your swearing. That's kind of an indictment as head of CARICOM at the moment, isn't it? It's not that I dignified the Prime Minister this evening watching his swearing. I just watched for journalistic reasons. That's all. That's all. Because the Prime Minister had the chance to wow the people of Jamaica with the time he's given, the good economy he is promoting. But the people of Jamaica has not felt any of that in 9 years. High cost of living, a depleted healthcare system, a depleted education system, scarcity of water, high inflation. The people of Jamaica has not seen the prosperity. And now you're actually gone backwards. Rather than you alleviate poverty first, then move on to prosperity. You promise us prosperity, which wherever it stop, we still await for it arrive. And then you turn around now in a food insecurity Jamaica, in a Jamaica where we don't plant to eat anymore, in a Jamaica where we're importing GM food from America, killing off our people rather than growing our own food to eat. You're going to alleviate poverty, absolute poverty in our country, Prime Minister. I hope nobody takes you serious because I don't. I know it's impossible for you in 5 years. Even if you top Steele prime minister, even if you top Steele, it will be difficult for you in 5 years. So I wouldn't listen to you and I wouldn't believe you. And I hope the rest of Jamaica don't really give a ears to it. I'm hoping you will release your cabinet sometime soon if you don't put it out yet. But all in all, this evening, he brought some of his entertainer, Nesbeth, came back to sing Look at Me Now, where them treat me less than good for the Prime Minister. And there was Patsy and a few other entertainers as well. But on trial is the criminal, the fraudster, the former Minister of Education, Ruel Reid, and his entire family, Professor Fitzpinnock. We don't want people to think they're local thief, them, you know. We don't want people to think say a thief from the ghetto. We want people to know say a thief in high places. Professor Fitzpinnock, Counselor Kim Lawrence Brown, are all on trial for the $50 million heist out of the education system. Isn't it ironic that after we've been waiting for about 6 years, and in 3 weeks we're about to go to trial with 50 million were Ruel Reid, Professor Fitzpinnock, and Counsel Lawrence Brown, and Ruel Reid family thief from Jamaica's children. 15% of the witness. I wonder. She do something to Ray, man. She came almost just like Juliet. She came. Keep me near the cross, Jesus. She came almost just like Juliet. Our green and for Juliet green is almost the same thing. Our green felt, she come with our green, what you call them, something there? Fascinator. In come with him green fascinator, and him green blazer was the same green what Juliet did have on. So yes, Patsy came in her green blazer and what's you might call it, her green blazer and her green fascinator. Yes, Patsy was there. Can you hear me say Patsy is supposed to know who it was? Imagine though, you see, there ought to be more people on trial when it comes to our money from the education budget. Andrew Holness literally should be on trial because the education budget, the raid, the loot in the education budget started when Andrew Holness was Minister of Education under Bruce Golding's government. And that's how Andrew started to enrich himself. And then when Grace McLean get there as permanent secretary, you know the rest of it. She buy a $1 million birthday cake for man who don't want Grace McLean. The Minister of Education, former Ruel Reid, have account in a helper name, driver name, and all sorts. We heard Kim Lawrence Brown come out a ball eye water as if them a stitch her up. She not involved in the looting as well. But literally, more people ought to be on trial for this hoist in our education budget. Grace McLean ought to be on trial. Andrew Holness ought to be on trial. Andrew Holness' permanent secretary, Mother Foster Allen, ought to be on trial. Dr. Carson Trope ought to be on trial for the money will get stolen out of our education budget. Marlon Morgan, who assisted Grace McLean in stealing 124 million. Senator, we don't know if him coming back as Senator, Marlon Morgan, ought to be on trial as well. Because a whole heap of them skin the education budget. It would be a good thing to see a lot of those who stole from the healthcare budget, like Dr. Tufton and his doctor friends and cronies, be put on trial for the heist of the education budget. This is why our schools are falling apart. Infrastructure, grades, attainment, everything is falling apart because the money, when Favor left Ministry of Education, I think it was about $930 billion unaccounted for. We have not had any appropriations account under Holness, under Favor leadership of Ministry of Education. And she moved off, gone somewhere else. Darrell Vaz ought to put on trial for 1.4 billion if he cannot provide us the documentation of how our money was spent. So Andrew Holness sworn in today is nothing new. He's sworn in to lead a government of corruption. The Prime Minister sworn in as a Prime Minister without integrity. The Prime Minister sworn in as a Prime Minister who for years cannot have his statutory declaration certified. A Prime Minister with his wealth has been bloated overnight to the point that the Prime Minister cannot justify it. And the Prime Minister walk up and down and fight the entire country for we say him not thief, when everything shows that the Prime Minister is a thief. If your wealth is genuine, if as they say that the Prime Minister is hardworking, then the Prime Minister wealth should be documented. A Prime Minister just sworn in under investigation for financial crimes. Regardless of the result, the Prime Minister integrity, the Prime Minister criminality is no good for our country standing on the international scene at all. Not one bit. Even if it was a free and fair election, which many of us, myself, even though I've accepted the result, but we know the election weren't free and fair. Yes, you can hold those two views in your head at the same time. I accept the result, but I know it's not free and fair. But as the democratic system allows, I accept the result. Doesn't mean that I believe that it's free and fair, but it's what we have. It's what we have to work with at the moment. Not so fast as he was going on though, because he's constrained now by voting numbers, by equal opposition across the floor. The Prime Minister integrity is a burden on the country. It's a burden on the Prime Minister's leadership. No matter how labor rights and the Prime Minister wants to duck and dive about this issue, the Prime Minister's integrity, the amount of corruption under this Prime Minister, the amount of public fund gets stolen under this Prime Minister, it is not a good look for our country's integrity. You could have make it look normalized, subtle. You could have make it look like the world isn't watching. These are not the days of RGR and JBC, which is just a RGR and JBC story. It's a story that we speak about every day on the internet. It's a story that have worldwide attention. You saw an election day when ABC News wrote an article about Jamaica going to the poll under a shroud of corruption and whatchamacallit. I forgot the other word them use. Corruption and economic concerns. So the economy with the Prime Minister boasts span when plan to give the 100% rise in a minimum wage, which him don't serious about, because there wasn't a feasibility study done on it. It wasn't a policy argument put forward to you by the Prime Minister. It was just a let's pull one out of the bag. Let's pull one out of the bag because Mark Golden thump him in him back with a 3.5 and him never have no other thing to say about it. And him just pull something out of the bag which the Prime Minister never have in a manifesto, never spoke about it before or anything, never attempt to do it, which he could have done it before the election. He could have done it before the election, but the Prime Minister just pulled something out of the bag where him no think to or have them policy people think to how much of a burden would this place on the economy? How would this work in context to small and medium size employers? All those things have to be taken in consideration, as well as the status of the economy and the rise of inflation. All of them something they have to take into consideration before you just wildly tell people say you're going to raise the minimum wage by 100%. Why not roll back? Why not roll back the 300% that politicians got? Why not roll back some of the 300% that politicians got? Maybe that would have saved a bit more money in the coffers. So the pay scale can even out more. Lady or sir, if my platform irritate you, go on. If you know some people dog bad, don't stop off at their yard. It's simple common sense approach. So let's see if Andrew Holness are going to stick to a word to alleviate absolute poverty in our country. Because this man talk to you like we not go to school. Look at the state of Jamaica economy. Look for minimum wage. The Prime Minister job, what they call it? The Prime Minister low unemployment rate. It doesn't stand up It's on fraudulent mathematics because 750,000 of working Jamaicans are not taken into account. So the figure is just like with electoral lists. It doesn't bear the truth on it. And if it doesn't bear the truth, you're working off of fraudulent numbers or misconception. Because when the Prime Minister talk about jobs, where are these jobs created? How much Jamaicans have access to these jobs? Because I'm sure much of these jobs are not created in rural Jamaica. Rural Jamaica, deep rural Jamaica have no access to these jobs because the jobs them pack up in a certain cities, which it not cheap to get there, given what minimum wage is. So the unemployment figure what the Prime Minister talk about is a lie. And just look at nomination day across Jamaica. You'd think everybody who was out on nomination day is people who booked day off a job. It shows you the amount of people in Jamaica that is not working. Jobs may be in Montego Bay, jobs may be in Negril, jobs may be in Portmore, jobs may be in Mandeville, it may be in Montego Bay. That's not the whole of Jamaica though. You have not brought jobs to rural Jamaica. A rural Jamaica, I feel a lot of the squeeze. And if this is why you say vote buying was so profitable for them, you know. Because let me speak of a constituency that I'm from, Southwest St. Elizabeth. Fishing and farming was with top jobs. Them something they mash up now. You have a lot of communities where there's no livelihood other than you have your little shop or something, or you are, such as my community, you are a fish vendor. Most communities across Southwest St. Elizabeth survive on their little small business, them little shop. Because there's no job in Black River for us. And even if we get a job in White House, the expense, it don't worth it. There's not much job in Junction to cover a lot of Southwest St. Elizabeth. So the jobs where them are talk about, it's not true. It's really not true. But a lot of people believe that the Prime Minister bring down the unemployment rate. No, it's not true. Because rural Jamaica, you go right across rural Jamaica, you see young boy after young boy, young girls after young girls having nothing to do. Communities after communities have no hope other than sit down and look out, or you try to hustle for yourself. So the low unemployment rate is a lie. It's not true. It is true if you might live in some built-up cities, but it's not true for the entire Jamaica. So the Chinese, them take over the whole of Santa Cruz and Black River now. And I feel like when Black people used to own the supermarkets in Santa Cruz and Black River, those are in the past. Whatever like a business what we have in the markets, and even that is stifled by Floyd Green and his agricultural policies. The wanton license given to people like James Robertson and others that control the food import, that they're not even importing good food. And this is one of the things we are damaged with health in a Jamaica. Because all of them food where we import from America are GM food. America don't plant real food anymore. America do not have time for that. Why you think in Europe here, very little food stuff is accepted from America? India will never buy India will never buy America corn. Because America corn, they're all GM. Most of American food are GM. That's why we experience so much health problem, because we don't eat real food anymore. America just genetically modify them and fix them good. America all grow meat in a lab now. We don't have to kill fowl anymore. And this is where we're going. America not grow nothing natural again. Everything you see in America is GM. That's why we're all getting sick. That's why we're losing. We just a flow out of proportion. So because we're not eating real food anymore. Look at how our agriculture has been damaged. Look at Flight Green constituency, a major part of the bread basket. Southwest St. Elizabeth have the red dirt. It's a very fertile community. But agriculture has been damaged in those places. And these people are talking about alleviating poverty. Alleviating poverty, and we're not able to grow to eat anymore. We're not able to grow to feed ourselves. And this Prime Minister stand up on the podium this evening and talk about alleviating poverty. Where is your agriculture policy then, Prime Minister? For us to come off of the GM food, come off of the Bill Gates crop them, and grow what we eat and eat what we grow. We can still do that, you know. And we would still have to sell to the world. But because on a take a God custody deal from the IMF, we have to implement policy that destroy what works around us. Skeptic or whatever your name, you've just elected a government. Go and ask the government what is his solution. Don't go ask me what is my solution. My issue is to point out the government's fault. I'm not paid to find solution for your leader. That's why he has a cabinet. That's why he have advisors. So don't ask me what is my solution. My job is not to find a solution for your leader. That's why we elect them. Or you don't understand that. You don't understand why you elect your leader. After you just elect and swear in a leader, you want me to find a solution? How much are you going to pay me? Because when people who provide advice and solution to governments are being highly paid, when Jamaicans sold their vote, when Jamaicans took $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, that's the solution they provided. It's easy to tear down, but hard to build. Well, that's an example of Andrew Holness, isn't it? There's a lot Andrew Holness has teared down around us. How much, though, can one argue that Andrew Holness has built? He has teared down our system of integrity and governance. He has torn down our education system. He has torn down our road infrastructure. He has torn down our health care. There's many things that have been torn down under this prime minister. I wonder if he'll find any grace in using his 5 years to rebuild the structure of governance in our country that we've noticed Andrew Holness tear down. It is why the prime minister ended up in front of the court so many times, The prime minister never just end up in front of the courts because the courts want to deliberate on issues of the prime minister. No. It's because the prime minister has done something wrong. And if you notice in most of those court ruling, barring the Parler one that he won on appeal, they all went against the prime minister. Look at the debacle between the prime minister and the Integrity Commission. It's all going against him. My job is not to find the government a solution. If you elect a government and then you're going to ask a media personnel to find solution for the government, then you have just made the wrong choice, my friend. Your government should come out with spanking brand new ideas with the political will to implement them. And the money we problem in the country, It is the political will to implement things that will benefit us, the majority poor, the 99%. It's not that we don't have money. Just look on the amount of Andrew thief. Look on the amount of Royal Reid thief. Look on the amount of Grace McLean thief. Look on the amount of Vaz take that show sent by bus. Look on the amount of Tufton take by drill. We country not short of money. Our country is short of political will. These people who we're electing have no political will. They are only there for the fancy fare and the big money and the big title. Government come, government go, PNP come, PNP go, Labour come, Labour go. And we are still going through the same problem of roads, water, like the common things that they all promise us. The common things, the simplest of the tasks that we give them as a people. Either party still have not accomplished. Either party still have not accomplished. Look at our roads. Look at our water. But the issue is, though, we ought to be improving. And this is where I have massive, massive problem with the Andrew Holness regime. I'm old enough to remember standpipe. I'm old enough to remember when we start to have water in our kitchen and bathroom. We shouldn't have gone backwards. That's my problem with Andrew Holness. Because under PJ and Portia, we had water in our bathroom and kitchen. Under Andrew Holness, the Totten Black tanks, we don't have that. We should be advancing. And I feel in that respect, under Andrew Holness, we have gone backwards. We have gone backwards. Look at our roads. Never yet before have we had a government declaring our roadways as a national emergency. because Andrew Holness admittedly has not maintained them over the 9 years. In a parliament, in turn up and declare, so no call me no propagandist. In a parliament, Darrell Vaz stood up and asked Andrew Holness to do something about the roads in our country. These are my problem with Andrew Holness. He has not improved on what was handed over to him. He has not improved. We have rather gone backwards. Look at our health care. I can't remember this point where we are in our healthcare now, where a lot of people are admitting on benches and chairs for days. I can't remember back then we had this problem. We should be improving and expanding, especially a leader that speaks about his good economic management. We should be seeing more benefit in money spending. But then again, didn't they give themselves 300% pay rise? They gave themselves 300% pay rise. And they weren't even just satisfied with that. They have to steal in the millions and billions as well. So even the little bit what we do, little for we, them still have to dip back in it. So me don't want Labour right come on my platform and go on like it's a tear down, Andrew. Isn't your country torn down? Do you drive on the roads of Jamaica? Do you visit the hospitals in Jamaica? Is your children visiting a decrepit, rundown school in Jamaica? Government no makes it go backwards as Andrew Holness has gone. They meant to go forward, improving on what they get. And there are many ways and many areas which we can point to and said, under Andrew Holness's 9 years, we have not improved. We have rather gone backwards. Our roads and our water is a classic example. What in that way you not see? Labor rights. What in that have you not seen or understood? It's not me that declared the roads a national emergency, It was Andrew. Andrew declared the roads as a national emergency. Never before in our country has a leader have to do that. Governments have road fixing project. Government no left the road. That's why PJ Patterson put a road maintenance fund there to make sure there is money there to upkeep our roads. Andrew Holness said the money wasn't enough. Rather than Andrew Holness invest more money into the road maintenance fund, pump more money into the road maintenance fund, and just scrap the road maintenance fund. And then him same one, instant and all you do. Him same one, turn around. How do you expect the country to grow if you spend the money with foreign? How do you expect the economy to develop if you spend the money with foreign corporation? Who then is responsible for spending? Who's responsible for spending in our country? Would your government spend the money with foreign corporation? So I don't see the point of that question. I really don't understand what that question is saying. Because your government, Andrew Holness, responsible for money spending in the country. Him decide where the money is spent. So are you saying Andrew Holness is spending with foreign corporation? That's why the country not develop? The boss them. Well, you still there go spend it with a foreign corporation, whether we're going to buy the old bus them, as Darrell Vaz used 1.4 billion to do, or we're going to buy from Toyota. It's a foreign corporation. Jamaica don't make bus. Come on, use your common sense. Jamaica don't make bus. But if Darrell Vaz had done the right thing, because when the labor rights want to run with the propaganda, when say we're fighting against the school bus, when literally stick on our fingers in our ears when we say it is a great idea. The idea of rural school bus. It is a great idea. It is an idea that I support. What I do not support is the old buses, overinflated price, and badly executed. That is my contention. My contention is not the rural school bus system. Is the entire execution of it. That is the problem. So what you ought to be thinking about is your Andrew Holness government using the country resources wisely. Using the country resources wisely, because Darrell Vaz spent a $1.4 billion on buses. We're told that we could get them for $1. Darrell Vaz carry them Congiwe at that price, and we again still have to spend $25 million per tire. We still have to retrofit by changing around the doors. We still have to do a lot of mechanic work because they keep breaking down. Speak to your government about the fiscal discipline they spoke about and sensible spending. Because that $1.4 billion plus the amount where we keep spending, it wasn't well spent. And that's what made the program fall down in front of them. If you channel the money through local business, it would amplify the community. But then again, so you talk against a skeptic. You're talking against Darrell Vaz. Because maybe there's a Toyota importer in Jamaica when could do that procurement with. So you're actually admitting that Darrell Vaz took 1.4 billion on more and wasted it when it could have spent to benefit the Jamaica economy. Are you understanding that's what you're admitting? You're admitting that 1.4 billion was wasted when it does not provide a benefit to the Jamaican economy and the local people. Well, the way how you defend labor right, then they have to assume that you're a labor right. But what you're admitting is that 1.4 billion was not spent adequately. We could have gotten better. We could have gotten better for the 1.4 billion. Leslie, go on where you go. Can you go hear the same damn thing every day? Just like every time the Prime Minister take a mic and put it in mouth and he see a camera, in telling a lie about prosperity and all sort, and in thought fool, go on where you go. When you pull up top of a people yard. When you see people yard and go on and stop tap off a people yard. The Prime Minister regularly speaks about fiscal discipline. The drill that we researched, the M800 drill is on eBay and it is on Amazon. And it's nowhere near the $31 million that they told us they paid for that drill. So the problem of our economy not developing rather, it's because of the wasteful spending of this government. This government that spend to gloat, but not spend to improve the economy. Next one. Spend to gloat, but not spend to improve the economy. If you are to look at the amount of money woes, the amount of missing money, the amount of unaccounted for money under the 9 years of his 2 term, we have nobody to blame, because some of you all don't understand how government run. But all of these departments have what is called a permanent secretary. The permanent secretary is responsible for how money is responsible to account for how money is spent in the department. For 9 years of Andrew Holness government, we are still waiting for the appropriations account to find out the $3 trillion. How has that $3 trillion been spent? 9 years. And we still cannot get anywhere closer to know how $3 trillion is being disbursed across various departments that they cannot account for. When the permanent secretary of the department every year is meant to submit what is called an appropriations account to show how them spend with money and what with money used for. These are the ghosts that continues to follow Andrew Holness. So Andrew Holness swearing in today is nothing new. He's soaring under a cloud of corruption, lack of transparency, lack of integrity. And this is how he's going to continue up to the next term or until his government collapses. Will the other illicit MPs be able to have their statutory declarations certified? Or are we going to have another 5 years of a government under the cloud of financial investigation by the Prime Minister and a few of his MPs? It don't look good for a country. So the fact that he's been sworn in today afresh doesn't mean I'm going to stop talking. Doesn't mean that we should stop talking, because this Prime Minister will be making decisions for us day by day. The only difference now is that he cannot be the bully that he was in the last 5 years. His corruption will continue, but his roguish behavior in our parliament, his disrespect for the Constitution, his disrespect for the legislative framework, all of those power has been drawn back from him. Doesn't make it look any better for our country. We have a leader, in my view, that is leading us into darkness. I am not disowning that skeptic. I've always said it. PNP thief, Labour thief, but PNP just thief more careful. When Labour thief, them very, from Mr. Siaga to Andrew Holness, them very disgraceful with it when them are thief. Me not here to look after no party, but I am here to hold the current government to account. And one thing I don't do either is I don't do the like for like when holding government to account. I don't do the like for like. So I'm not going to, in holding Prime Minister Andrew Holness to account, I'm not going to find reason to criticize PNP for the past, for their past to find a balance. No, that's not what it is about. When the PNP time come to be criticized on matters they ought to be criticized, yes, I will. But one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to form an equalizer when I'm holding the current government to account. It is the current government that makes decision. And no matter me yapping about previous administration, it doesn't help our country. What help our country is holding the current leader to account in order so they can do better. It's not holding previous governments to account, which we cannot do anything about. Why we ought to hold the current government to account? Remember, if you go back to Andrew Holness 2016 and so on campaign, a lot of the things he saw when he was in opposition and criticized them, he planned to do them better. Ask yourself this question: has Andrew Holness done better? Now, when Andrew Holness was in opposition, he heard the cries of 18 dead babies. Now Andrew Holness is in government. Andrew Holness have not heard the cries of 32 dead babies. Me can go hold Dr. Fenton Ferguson and Portia Simpson for the 24 dead babies now. We held them to account then. Those who were, we never in this space then, but labor rights held them to account then. Because Dr. Portia Simpson had to put Dr. Ferguson aside. But Dr. Tufton is there wielding his hatchet at the Jamaica people, with Andrew Holness blind to it. So at least Andrew Holness held Portia Simpson accountable then. And Portia Simpson was dignified enough to do the right thing. Have you seen any improvement in Andrew Holness? Because if there's improvement in Andrew Holness ought to hear the cries of 32 dead babies. He heard 18. Why you can't hear 32 cry louder than 18, Prime Minister? And the Prime Minister have not heard any of those. The improvement that most Jamaicans talk about. Yes, man, the man do things, the man build up the country. Where? The part where you can't afford? The build-up where you can't afford to buy a piece of it? Under this Prime Minister NHD policy, the Prime Minister tell two people to put together and buy one bedroom apartment. Andrew Holness building is not for poor people. The homes Andrew Holness are building with NHT money, you NHT contributors cannot access them. Yes, we see improvement. Can you explain the improvement, Joyce Young? Explain what improvement you have seen. Because it's okay to say Yes, we see improvement. What are the improvement that you have seen though? How have you benefited? How have your community benefited from the improvement that you say you see within this prime minister? What about your roads, your waters? How is your hospital? What are the schools like in your constituency and catchment area? Hmm? Because when I love to say we see improvement, to date, nobody can document the prime minister improvement, not even the prime minister himself. I know we have improved. Yes, we have improved in black tanks, improvement in stealing, improvement in stealing, improvement in black tank, and a lot of things. But the people of Jamaica have not felt the improvement. Not. Jamaica people do not feel the improvement. So the prime minister just win and taxi driver out there a demonstrate and say them will only have to do it now. Because to say if they did do it before the election and the oldest and chunk police them would have kill them with lick, say sabotage, them a sabotage them. So don't try fool with. So no see improvement. Jamaica people known for cut off their nose for spite them face. Improvement in cost of living. Like seriously, skeptic. Improvement in cost of living. The all of the surveys that have been done, crime and cost of living is two of the top concerns for Jamaicans. How then, if there is improvement in cost of living, how then it would be that is so much of a concern for the people of Jamaica? It's more expensive. That means that there's no improvement in cost of living. Cost of living gone out of hand. If there's improvement in cost of living, then people can afford more. We road good water up. Oh God. Joyce Young. Joyce Young. Which Jamaica you live in? We road good water up. We road good, she said, and water up. My dear, may I have to take where you say for it. Are you say your road good and are you say water up? Are you say your road good and are you say water up? So, me don't know. Me can't dispute you coming out there where you're there. I mean, I look out at one year like you. So, me don't know. But your prime minister, though, was the one who stood in parliament and declared the roadways of Jamaica as a national disaster, a national emergency. Spark and Reach have barely makes its way across certain places of the country just for election purposes. What I'm wondering is how Spark and Reach will progress now that election is over. Why this thing keep bear with me? I'm waiting to see how Spark and Reach will be progressing.
Listen why the road never.
How Spark and Reach will be progressing now that the election is over. The government can't come to it and tell we say a money problem, because of on 2023 JLP General Conference, the Prime Minister told us about the $40 billion for his Spark project. And we later see the Prime Minister gave 3.5 million for a REACH project. And after burial, we saw the Prime Minister gave added $2 billion that collided with REACH to do the patching. What the government has done in its rant around the country before the general election is just patch the potholes. We're not telling no lie, we're good. Okay. But not tell you, so you're not good, Joyce. Skybridge still not fixed from 2021 until now. There's a plethora of bridges across Jamaica were break down under Andrew Holness, where no attention is being given to. That's why Everard Warmington was to shut down Nestor Morgan in Parliament, because Nestor Morgan came to Parliament and deliberately lied about the bridge, and Everard Warmington had to call him out. But he demand them attack why them did afraid to block the road before election.
Listen why the road never blocked before election.
Yeah, Southern St. James. People then say they want a road today. Look on the main road, guys. We don't want to hear, but we don't tell them, we don't want to hear about the politics that today people ain't want to road. We're the business with MP. Southern St. James, Montpellier, main road for Mobile. And that everybody I talk about want to wait till after election.
They might talk about election. If we try Black Road in that time, they will liquidate the food. Who know that Black
The man here, all right, you know, here what go on. The man they say if they block the road before election, will lick the other gate to blood clot.
And a lot of these bridges, are in labor right constituencies, such as the Craig Mill Bridge, the Choi Bridge, and there's another bridge also in Everard Warmington constituency, Black River Bridge in Floyd Green's constituency. But what Nestor Morgan regularly do is lie about them.
No, sir.
Yeah, they go say we have to put our JMG connect that.
No, me believe in that too. You see him say that?
Yeah, they would want to say we have to
Was
put
it one particular party a pass?
Yeah.
Right. Because, all right, guys, me just believe, say, it never really they affect. You see, before the election, the traffic never so, you see me, traffic never so much. School start back, you know, much is.
That piece of road there, has always been like that under successive government. But if you're afraid of Homer Davis, bad man them, then you shouldn't afraid of everybody else. Because I wonder if this is a labor right protest. That's only afraid for protest before when Homer Davis did it. But now Nikita Burchill did it. On a road today. Why though aren't you calling an Andrew Holness and Nestor Morgan? That's why I say people in Jamaica don't understand the government structure in their country and who does what. and who is responsible for what. Like Omar Davis should have, it is the same responsibility Nikita Burchell will have, is to advocate to the government to have that road fixed. That is Andrew Holness and Nestor Morgan's responsibility, not the MP. It is a major thoroughfare which comes under the National Works Agency, which is a cabinet portfolio held and will continue to, I believe, by Dr. Andrew Michael Holness, to give him the name he loves, and his non-portfolio minister, Nestor Morgan, not the MP. So you ought to, when Andrew Holness there come on Mobiaco and doing campaign, then that's the time when you should have stand up on roadside and demonstrate within a placard so Nestor Morgan and Andrew Holness can soon and know so you want on the road fix. But if you continue, yes, you can go to your MP to advocate to them so they can lobby more effectively for you, but your MP does not have a portfolio nor a budget to fix roads. Focus, direct your attention when it comes to road fixing on the Prime Minister. They might go say now, oh, the Prime Minister, everything. Yes, he's the one who has taken on that job. You could have given to somebody else and take something off in hand. But because him wants to control many things or many money run through, it is the Prime Minister's cabinet position. So it's not because a new MP win, una go call for road tiddy. Call to the Prime Minister. Una should on the outside, una taxi men. Una should have the outside King's House this evening, demonstrating for roads. So the Prime Minister, the Governor General, and the entire nation, you would have the spotlight on you. So the Prime Minister can know what you want, rather than what you are prepared to accept or to protect the Prime Minister in. Because of that happening in our country, you know. That's why Andrew Holness is so much of a failure. Because nobody, except for we and the thin majority that the People's National Party had then, held him to account. Nobody in the Labour Party, supporters, surrogate, MP, nobody see anything to hold Andrew Holness account for. Andrew Holness is right on everything, even if it's not good for Jamaica, even if it's not good for the people of Jamaica. You all just go blindly. Andrew Holness is right. Let's hope, with a pinch of salt, that the Prime Minister be a better person in the 5 years ahead than we have known him to be in the previous 9 years. This Prime Minister has garnered a lot of hate because of many things which is not of a Prime Minister's material that this Prime Minister distributed to us. So we hope now that there's people there to hold his feet to the fire. The Prime Minister can try to do better. The Prime Minister can rule within the interest of Jamaica and the people of Jamaica, rather than Andrew Holness and his cronies' pocket, as he has done in the last 9 years. Hmm? May I come go on my bed now. Labor rights. You may think we're badgering away at the Prime Minister, but every bad decision made by this Prime Minister, we will both labor rights and PNP feel that the effects of that bad decision. There literally shouldn't be any problem holding your leader to account. When you stop holding your leader to account, you are submitting your will to a dictatorship. Unless you're in a dictator or a very tight, rigid autocracy, you must always raise your voice. You must always be prepared to dissent. So don't get worked up by us holding Andrew Holness to account. It will happen every day for the next 5 years. So if you think it's going to be a bother for your years, this is one of the platforms that you should not stop. Yasso, a one-eye place where you're not fit up if you don't like standing up for your country, because it's literally not about standing up for Andrew Holness or Mark Golden, because everybody know I was gearing up when Mark Golden 100 day done to start holding him to account. Now with Andrew Holness, because he's continuing, we don't have to give him a 100-day grace period. We can hold him to account straight out of the box. And that is exactly what we are doing tonight and will be doing for the foreseeable. Thank you for being here tonight with us on Global TV. If you're new to the program, please give us a follow or a subscription so when we go live, you certainly will get our notification. And we're going to stay on the topic of Royal Reid because we're going to keep it in the people's consciousness that this is an education minister under Andrew Holness government who has defrauded 50 million from your children's pocket. You may be asking the question tonight, why on earth is Grace McLean not on trial for her hoist of the education department? Thank you and good night from Global TV.
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is so dead. Rastafari. Come with I, Rastafari.
Well, on the globalist, I never remember to tell you no. I got park today and because to say rain fall for one whole week. The rest of the grape them ripe up, even the green skin one them. So this evening I pick 2 scandal bag full of grape. And I come home, come make buckles of grape juice. Organic grape juice, not GM, grape with seed.
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is so dead. Rastafari. Come with I, Rastaman throw 1 stone, and it pick a bad feeling to all wicked men. That's a people day. Make a man throw 1 stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear not hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rub and cheat and not press the poor. Make God What a city. Big man throw and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black big man throw and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. My favorite man, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day them can sell out Rasta and sell it out. I sell out Babylon. Big man show and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Big man show and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead can sell out Rasta. I sell out, I sell out Babylon. Yes, stop on the Friday. But Joe and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black big man, Joe and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one, big man Joe and stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black big man Joe and stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rasta man Joe and stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.